they're family to me. Starting with the first fight of the night, you know, Ian, he's just such a sweetie, and he had actually asked me to be in his corner for the fight on Saturday, which was an honor to be asked that, and unfortunately, you know, it wasn't an option, but I would have loved to. Any other time, any other show, I would have been there for him. I have a lot of respect for him, and he's come a long way. He's just too cute and a hard worker, and the Ian that we see every day, and then the guy that he is when he gets in that ring, it's like, wow, he's an animal. Kui's done a fantastic job. I think that he learned some valuable lessons in this fight, and I think he'll improve, and he knows what to work on. And the beautiful thing about it is that so do the guys around him, and it's a family, so they're going to step up to the plate. And you know, he did a great job, and he pulled out the W. But everybody notices what everybody needs to work on, and those guys step up to the plate and are willing to help him. And that's what makes me love these guys so much. Next fight out was J.J. Mix, and he did an amazing job. You know, when I first set this matchup, John Halverson coming from the UFC and fighting some of the toughest guys at 155, you know, people were like, are you sure you want to put him in there with him? JJ's only, you know, 2-1. Is he going to be overmatched? And I believe in JJ. I believe he's one of our best kept secrets here. And what he's shown me in practice and in there every day, I knew that he was gonna pull out the win. And I was just hoping that he would get in there and feel comfortable and find his range, and he did. He did an amazing job, and even at that, he found a few things that he wants to work on now, and this really motivated him. This was a really big win for him. We also had Elena Reed, who has been with our camp since we opened up the gym, and has recently moved back to Phoenix and is training down there, but I still work very closely with her, and she's another one that's kind of hard to find a matchup because she has so much experience in boxing, but she only had at the time one MMA fight. So you don't want to over or undermatch her. Yet, you know, this girl plays professional football. Her opponent, Stephanie Palmer, plays professional football, and you know she's a tough chick. And she had a couple MMA losses, but is really slick on the ground. She didn't get to use too much of her jiu-jitsu that night, but you know, the experience that Elena has had in the ring and her being that comfortable, you got to take that into consideration. I think she's going to continue to be hard to find matchups for at that weight class too. But she did a great job. She told me before the fight that she wanted to drop her with a body shot, and she did exactly that. So I was excited for her. After the JJ fight, we had Josh Haynes. Josh Haynes was matched up with Sean Salmon. Sean was the last-minute replacement for Steve Burns, who unfortunately sprained his ankle and had to pull out. Sean stepped up to the plate and was training for another fight, so he was in shape, ready to go. I thought those guys were very, very equally matched. I thought it was a slugfest, and in my opinion, it was the fight of the night. So my hat's off to Josh. He looked very technical. His boxing, his stand-up has come a long way, and that was a big win for him as well. So he did a great job, and I can't say enough good things about Sean Salmon. He was a pleasure to work with, so great kid. Next fight was John Alessio and Gideon Ray. They had a few sparks flying at the weigh-ins. Gideon Ray coming off of The Ultimate Fighter and having a name out there. Thought that was going to be a good matchup. You know, John Alessio, he is always exciting to watch, and in my opinion, I feel like he's at the top of his game right now. He's really put all the pieces together with his strength and conditioning coach and his diet, his workouts, his coaches. I just think anybody that he gets in there with right now is going to have a really tough time. I really feel like he's at the top. He got the knockout. I know that made him feel great. I know that, you know, being a good sportsman, they shook hands and gave each other a hug afterwards and, you know, buried the hatchet, and it was all good, and that made me feel better. Talked to Gideon yesterday, and he was a good sport and called to apologize for some of the stuff that did go on at the weigh-ins, but, you know, when guys are ready to fight, that stuff's going to happen. So right after that, we had Mike Pyle and Brian Gassaway. that was a good matchup, and Brian Gasaway is very dangerous standing up. Thought they started that fight out great, some good exchanges. Mikey actually got clipped and admitted to, losing a few seconds there, and recovered right away and went into autopilot, which got him the win. He did a great job. I thought Brian Gasaway was a very good sport. He did a good job as well, and he was also a pleasure to work with. So those guys flying out together, him and Gideon Ray, they did a good job. Next out was Jay Huron, who is like my brother. I just can't say enough good things about Jay Huron. He's amazing to me and my inspiration, and he always delivers. He had a little bit of a scare with the weigh-ins and Bryson Kamaka not being able to compete Saturday night with that last-minute filler, which was pretty stressful, trying to find that opponent, somebody who could get down to the weigh-ins. Already had their medicals and ready to go in an hour's time, and we found that in Chris Kennedy. So thank you, Chris. That was amazing. He was getting ready for a fight actually next weekend in Laughlin. This was a big opportunity for him. He's actually sparred with Jay before, knew what he was getting himself into, and he was a warrior. He took that fight with a day's notice. Didn't have time to cut weight. He weighed in at 175, which wasn't too much off of the mark there. He was a warrior. He took a beating and stayed in there, showed a lot of heart, and did a good job. Jay said in the stand-up he's so dangerous. And, Jay took him down and controlled him on the ground, but he did a great job. Then our main event was Hector Ramirez and Rick Rufus. And those two guys actually both were fill-ins for Mike Whitehead and Alan Goes, who were originally supposed to be my main event. And those two stepped up to the plate and were willing to fight each other. And, Rick Rufus is a legend in the kickboxing world, and he's hanging on. He's still trying to make things work with MMA. That's his new thing, and I respect him. And who am I to say that age is, isn't anything but a number? So wanted to give him that opportunity. Hector was a great guy. Hector's had some big fights against some big UFC guys, with Rashad and Forrest. He was a good competitor, and in that fight, I didn't know what to expect. And they did a good job. Rick had some pretty crazy kicks and punches, and Hector pulled off the win, and got to know him a little better this weekend and have a lot of respect for him. He was a great guy, and I wish the best for him, and hopefully I'd like to see him back in the UFC sometime soon. So that's it. That's my night.